checks instead. He's looking for banging. Stills!
Hello, welcome back to part two. We've got two Kelly's Corners. One, because Donelan left, as we said in the first episode, and then obviously the fans forum happened. But we've already asked the question. So the thing on everyone's lips is, what do people think of Shawn Donelan leaving? Because that is the most important part.
I was just thinking that, Sam.
So we're going to do that first to build the suspense. Tom, take it away. You've got a lot of talking for this one. So
there's a lot of talking. It feels like it's been a while since we've had a Kelly's Corner on our podcast.
Too long.
So we were just asking for your reactions, of course, of Donelan leaving the club. Thank you again to everyone who contributed. Got quite a few responses. So Craig on Facebook, Craig Hughes says, it's a very random move for Shawn moving to Livingston, but fair play to him. And he hopes that he does well over there. He's been pretty decent for us overall during his time there, as he's a very versatile player that can fill a lot of positions, which will be something we've lost from this move. But this might open up the right back position for Crow to get his head down and make that space his own for the rest of the season. Also, Marshall might stake a claim for that right back spot too, as he's done well there. But Moxie and Tomlinson have to be kept central.
Well done.
And
now,
we definitely didn't. We definitely didn't take 5 times.
Takes for that. Right. So that took 5, 6 takes. That took 5, 6 Craig. What? It's 5, 6 takes, Craig, because, well, there's just various reasons started happening. Dylan Crow got called Darren Crow. And then that moment, in school when you can't laugh, it's very hard not to on Zoom.
Yeah, so you have to.
You've got him right in front of you. So, yes, if you're wondering why me and Chris were losing a little bit, very, very professionally done there, Tom.
It was very good.
We don't have Dom for 1 week, and we just go to pot.
Yeah. We can't behave.
Right. Anyway, I'm glad that hurdle's done. On to the next one.
Yeah, we're there. So now we go on to the comments on X. Again, thank you to everyone who contributed. Twitter, X, same thing. Thank you to everyone who contributed again this week. So Rachel, I know, is a big Shawn Donelan fan. She says good player.
T-shirt. Think of our T-shirt tonight.
I know. Rach. A good player. He'll be missed, at least by some of us. Oh, feel sorry for you, Rachel. Ollie Ree says a good squad player, but also decent to have freed up some of the wage bill, assuming it was sizable if his agents had bagged him a move to the SPL. Clive says, obviously, he'll be pleased with the move, and I wish him no ill. It seems extraordinary that Livingston want him, which may tell us about the quality and budget of a club at their level. No great loss to Torquay, not very consistent. 10 a penny, in my opinion. Mark Hurst says, a utility player that last season you would never say was good enough to nail down a single position as his own. Constantly, his 5.5 end-of-season rating on the website was bang on, and he is an NLS standard player. Let's try to bring in someone better than that. Johnny Jones says would be okay as a squad player, not as a nailed-on starter. Effort was his main asset. Now that's gone. Good riddance. We've got George who says it's a weird move. Bring back Ben Winter, though. I'm on that train. I'd love to have Ben Winter back, but
is he injured or just not playing?
I just don't think he's playing.
Did he get injured, or did that happen in my Football Manager save?
I think he got injured, and I think he's back fit as far as I'm aware. But he wanted to move closer to London, didn't he? And it's just not really working.
With games, Sam, isn't it? You never tell the difference between reality and games.
Because I signed him after he just come off an injury, and I can't remember if he's actually injured in real life now.
He was injured for a bit, but that was a while ago, I think.
We'll have to check that. If anyone knows, let us know. We've got Lee FM Devon who says not too bad. Release him early. It frees up the wage bill to get somebody else in. Pete Milford says I'm disappointed. I think he is a decent player. I wish him well though. We must have a replacement. And finally, Jamie Hughes says, shame, as thought he was solid for us. We do need a replacement right back to help Dylan Crow, Ben Winter, I say. And that is all the comments on Donelan. Thank you, everyone, for contributing. And I'm so sorry it's taken us about 1 million takes for us to get at least.
I'm so sorry that I was just trying to, I've missed all of that, to be honest. I'm composing myself because we've actually got a really important bit in like the club's like latest history coming up now, and we're just laughing because he's called him Darren Crow, not Dylan. So, right.
Get in, Darren.
You'll see that outtake at the end of the video if I feel in a generous mood.
It is Christmas.
It is Christmas, yeah. Right. So, talk about Christmas. We've had a Christmas miracle. There's been a fans forum. Now, should we say our bits before we get in? I need to digest a lot of it. So I've got 3 main bits. One, just because I may appear to say well done for doing this. Does not mean I'm all of a sudden going, way on the way to the Football League, United, as they like to say. I generally believe it was very good what they've done today. Fair play. They didn't have to do that. They did. Whether they look like they want to be there or not, they did it. They didn't censor any of the questions at all. Very hard-hitting questions there. I'm surprised they actually did that, especially what couple of Gary Johnson. I was like, that's a really difficult one.
Apart from Dom hogging the half the questions, but other than that.
And
been banned.
And what else was it? Yeah, no, so there are a few worrying outcomes. There are a few outcomes where if that was true, yeah, fair enough. Kind of feeling. We'll go into a little bit more, but it was nice. Look, we've got communication from the football club. If they start using the TUST to, and sort of support us to more thing, we could come together as a community. Whether we trust him, I'll never properly trust. I don't trust many people, but I don't trust many business owners really. But
bit of therapy there, Sam.
It's been a tough year. But yeah, I truly believe that, it'd be nice to start building it. Football clubs winning a bit, and fair enough, they've said a few of their bits. Some people are going to shoot me down for this. I actually, when Clark Osborne speaks, just what is presented of him there, I don't really have many problems with. I think a lot of people's problems are with Edward still, his sort of demeanour and sort of he's not very approachable, and many other things. But I thought Clark Osborne, he's quite honest. He appears to be anyway. That's my take from it. I'm not sat here going, oh, thank God, the football club's going the right way. But at least they've done something. At the end of the day, you can't just be anti everything all the time. I'm very skeptical, of course, but that's how I feel, which is just no opinions. I've just spoke for about 5 minutes and not actually come to a conclusion. But I'm quite balanced with it, is my thoughts. Chris?
Yeah, very similar. I think, fair play to them for doing it first and foremost, because about time they did. Is another way to look at it. But fair play to them for doing that. I think there's something I've thought all along is show me a businessman or woman that hasn't had some failures, but that's not to say that he was very vehemently kind of very vehemently denied any wrongdoing in terms of claimed a lot of it was circumstantial, which again, if you're him, you're going to, aren't you? I think the part that was interesting was a lot of it was around questions. They seemed respectful of the opinions and the questions, and as you said, they were very much that they weren't censored in any way. What was interesting, I've got a note here that I wrote watching it. It says here that the only time anyone actively kind of bristled and kind of showed emotion was that suggestion that the club wasn't run properly, was it? But him and George Edmonds very vehemently, very quickly, very passionately said, no, we're not having that. That is simply not true. Which is good. And again, you're going to say that it's your business. You're not going to entertain that idea. But that was good to see that kind of passion to it. I agree with what you said about George Edwards. I found he speaks in statements. So rather than answering the question or giving an opinion, it was all of this, or one, the only way we're going to be successful is as one together. Well, that's true to a point, but it's also about winning games of football on the pitch, and you can do that. That kind of gives you, everyone has to like each other type mentality, which I don't think is necessarily the case. I thought the stadium stuff was interesting. I don't know what you thought about this, but it sounded like almost like they were. It wasn't far off.
Yeah, no, that's what my dad took from it. And it did sound like something's coming. And look, I love Playmore. It's been a place of my thing, and I don't believe that it's going to end well. But a football club needs a multi-purpose place. Look, I don't think it would end well. I don't see how they can build it in Torquay. Let's not even get into that. But the facts are there that it needs a multi-purpose thing. Now, this sounds really weird for me to say, but if something is going to happen, whether that be a terrible, terrible thing to our football club and we have to start again, or something actually that's going to be new, and then there's something we can build towards where we get money back. But will it happen? I don't see it. I don't see how it could happen in this area. I prefer it to happen sooner, so we don't just have to sit for many more years of no communications and what's going to happen. I prefer to whatever is going to happen sooner, and it does sound like something's happening sooner. Unless you've got anything to add.
It does.
Tom,
I just add as well. Two other things I'd say as well is that I thought what was interesting was I did think the stadium might be a bit kind of like, well, the council won't let us play more. What more can we do?
Blaming it.
So I was surprised how kind of vehement and kind of passionate about it he was. And the other thing I would say, the last statement he made about again that George Edwards says you don't have to believe in Clark, you have to believe in the club. I don't agree with that. As any owner, as any leader, as any person of direction. There's no doubt that's not Clark Osborne at our club. It's George Edwards. You have to have belief in what they're doing from an organisational, structural sense, but down to what emanates onto the pitch. And of course, the belief in the first team manager is what's important. The most supporters who come through the turnstiles that never have queues on a Saturday or a Tuesday or whatever. But and again, a lot of the problems a lot of people have said about, if you look at social media and stuff over the last few months, these people who think that Johnson should have gone at the end of last season. A lot of people have said, well, you can sack him, do whatever you want, but that's not going to change who's in charge of the club. So I don't agree that you don't have to believe in the owner. You have to believe in the ownership and the club like Manchester United. The disrespect and disconnect there is around the way that club's built up debt. A lot of the unrest emanates from that. A club like that, so at our club, if you don't believe in the owner, respecting the money he's put in, it is hard work.
Yeah, I do agree. You've hit the nail on the head brilliantly. Before we go into someone's opinion, Chris, that I felt like Clark Osborne spoke like a businessman, but with a bit of personal sort of personality in it. There's a bit of I am mental. I put in 6 million in it, and I actually kind of, whether it's fake or not, I kind of warm to it a little bit in a weird way. And then after I'm like, Sam, you're being tricked. But like where Edwards is still kind of this kind of like business talk, it's kind of just these statements.
To a certain degree, they're going to. I don't care if they're personable, if they act like robots, they're not football people, whatever. What you need to do, as I've said before, we've talked about fans, the first thing you would have to do, if I won 100 million tomorrow and I could buy the club, the first thing I would do is employ people into roles that I know can do what I need them to do. I don't have to do it myself. I have to be able to bring people in who can do it. So I don't care if they're businessmen, because he's a businessman. And yes, he said he didn't go, I'm a Torquay fan, I want to buy the club. It was an opportunity. I wanted to save the club. And yeah, sure, I've lost £6 million, but I believe in the project we've got going here. So he is a businessman. That's what he is. He's not. Let's not pretend he's a football fan. He's not.
Yeah. Tom?
Yeah. My opinions are, firstly, kudos to the club for putting something out there and, not doing the easy thing and picking the questions that they want to answer and the ones they don't want to answer. Secondly, I think that's kudos to the fan base, kudos to the trust, because without the pressure from the supporters and again the support we have and the decline we've had at this club in recent years, I think it's a couple of years overdue. And I'm glad that the signals, at least from that interview, were that they want to open it up further to the fans and they want to do a face-to-face meetup. But talk is cheap. It's what you do is what matters.
Tommy, what's the danger of that?
Talk is free. Yeah.
What's the danger of that statement they've made today?
Yeah. Talk is cheap. Clark Osborne was saying, he's not failed at anything. Maybe speak to people in Bristol and the other, Greyhound tracks that, have fallen by the wayside for projects. I am skeptical still.
Of course.
Let's not forget, he, again, like we've all been saying, he's invested so much money into this football club. He says, I'm not here for, the money. I'm here as a project. It excites me. There's a lot of, what would have been nice was maybe a little bit of remorse.
Yes, very good point.
A little bit, because it was all quite, we would have made the 5-year plan in two had it not been for some dodgy refereeing decisions. Well, that's fair enough. There was, we were.
But it's been terrible mismanagement for the last 2 or 3 years since on and off the pitch, and that is the frustration thing. Like I find at times when even it's talking about the turnstiles a little bit. Just be a bit more, disconnect yourself. Right, you've put in hard work. That's good. I appreciate that. But don't take things as like personal. I think there's this kind of, well, we work hard. Yeah, I'll work hard on your job. Chris, you work hard on yours. Tom, you're working hard on yours. It's not about who, if you're working hard and, you feel like that is a thing, just, right, you're still in a privileged position.
It just felt to me they were trying to... They were trying to deflect the failings away from them. Now, had they said, we've got stuff wrong, we don't want to be where we are, we're sorry for what's happened, you can kind of accept that and kind of move on.
I agree, Tommy, I agree. And I think I thought the comment about the refereeing decisions and the Ashton Gate and all of that, you can call that excuses. It's also true. but it is excuses because ultimately we're not where we needed to be. The other thing the only part about it, I genuinely thought where I sat there and thought, oh, come on, really? Was when Mel Heyman was answering about the turnstiles thing. You're really telling me I'm a volunteer turnstile operator who clicks people in and out and gets to go and watch the game for free. You're telling me that giving out the odd £5 and a few pound coins here and there is going to be that stressful for me? Really? I'll provide you some hand sanitizer, some wipes if you're concerned about COVID, some gloves if you want them. Really? And I just thought, to bring potentially, I don't know, 100, 200, 300, I don't know, more people into the gates. We think on the day, should we go to football? Yeah, let's go. I don't buy that.
But it does turn people away. I mean, what?
And I get the queues. I get the queues aren't there anymore. But still, there won't be queuing anyway at the moment. That's because less people go. We're in the Vandermeer South. We're in the football league. They'll be queuing again.
Exactly.
You look at the crowds recently, and they've fallen below 2,000. What do we have? 1,800 the last couple of games on Saturdays.
It also doesn't help when the opposition are bringing 35.
That is true.
Which you also see in this level, don't you? But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this time of year is always difficult for crowds.
It's almost as if we set this all up in COVID. We worked really hard on it, and we didn't want to let that go to waste. But most clubs now, I know a lot of clubs have done the same as us. It's only card only. But you can still pay on the turnstile. I mean, how they're saying, you can go to the ticket office. Well, that's all good when you're playing, at this level. But if you were to progress up the leagues, if we're getting 2,000-3,000, which we should be getting anyway on a regular basis, all of a sudden, the queues get longer and there's more interest in the football club again.
Also, can I just point out, at the end of the day, before we go into Kelly's corner, the overriding factor is with this whole lack of accountability. When you're in that privileged position of being an owner of a football club, you're responsible for a lot of people's emotional happiness, well-being, entertainment, their escape. It means a lot to us. So, and I understand that there should be no personal abuse. I'm totally with you on that. But you can't also use that as that's just part of it. That's unacceptable. I'm totally with you on that. But what I'm saying is, you've got to be there for criticism. Like when you're taken away, you're not talking to us for 2 or 3 years, and we don't feel like we can attach to our football club. That's very bad for a lot of families and a lot of people. Start talking to the TUS and what you're going to. Get volunteers in to paint those seats and the family stand. Little things like that. They can help. We can help the football club, and we all feel more attached to it. Like the sponsors day when I went to that, I was like, oh, nice to be at my football club. Little things like that. That means a lot to fans. Yeah, I'm just saying this when you get to go play more. Like remember when the Bristows took over, when they helped us paint seats and pre-season, just stuff like that. You can help. We'll go into Kelly's corner now because I'm sure there's a lot of mixed opinions, and I reckon a lot of people can't similar to us really. But I'm still, let's see where we are in 6 months' time as a football club, a year's time. But something somehow is happening, and I prefer that, whether it's negative or positive at times, and just sat there going, "What is going on?" So
I thought it was also interesting. You just reminded me of something. Sorry, Tommy, just before you go, was it when he said when they were asked about going part-time? Because I read into that statement at the end of last season, we're going to be full-time this season. Kind of made it sound like, but if we don't go up, then we can't kind of promise it beyond that. But they were quite equivocal in that this is a professional football club. That's it. Which is, hopefully we go up and it's not a conversation. But I thought that was interesting.
I mean, for those who haven't watched the interview or haven't got to it yet, I did take some key points before we go into some of the comments. The main ones I got from the interview, so that the club are looking to move into a new stadium. It probably though won't be in the Torbay area. The club will remain full time even if we don't achieve promotion this season. The 5-year plan would have been done in 2 had it not been for some dodgy officiating in the final. Clark Osborne was enthralled about the potential of the club's future, but says that he won't come up financially better off. That's not his goal. That's not his end game for the club. The Torquay Travel.
Well, that's good then.
The Torquay United Travel Club. They did speak to him apparently over the summer, but they said they wanted to remain independent from the club. I don't know how true that is on their end. In regards to the TUS, they've had many meetings with them in their tenure, and the door is always open to anyone who wants to work together with the football club and that has the best interest in the football club, which I'm sure the TUS do. Anyway, Clark Osborne has an issue with people saying that the club isn't run sufficiently well, which we've covered already. They hope to have a face-to-face forum with the fans in due course. The question that I thought was really good was why the club stuck with Gary Johnson after years of abject failure and relegation. The answer was Gary is the best manager to do the job we're looking for. He's the best man to get us into the EFL, and that we have the right manager to do the job for us. Even though we've fallen back into the National League South, Gary Johnson is still the best man to get us back into the Football League, apparently. So,
but one out of an arc if he does.
I admire their belief. I admire their belief because I think managers get sacked at the drop of a hat nowadays. Steve Cooper's been sacked at 80. What he's done for that football club, but I think
if we go up, he's staying. It's not like it's going out in a National League South promotion, is it?
I admire their stoicism to it, but equally, what I would also say is that if you look at the facts, it's hard to argue that that's the answer, isn't it? Really,
safest job in football. I mean, we've been saying it for the last 18 months, but no, Gary Johnson is apparently the right man for the club.
He could still take us promoted. I'm not saying he couldn't.
Gary Johnson quoted in saying that most of the loan players that we've brought into the club during his tenure have turned out to be successful loan signings. Mostly in reference to the likes of Nico Lawrence last season.
Yeah, I thought the use of the word "most" is a very general, subjective word, isn't it? Quantify most. 70%, 80%, 60%. What does that mean? But yeah, I think it's probably. But every loan signing is a punt because, like you said, they're generally kids, aren't they? But yeah, I think most might be pushing it a bit.
Obviously, we discussed already that some people don't like technology, but you have to look after the majority in regards to paying on the gate without cash. Apparently the system works, and there are no more queues to enter the ground on match days. Okay. The club has a good relationship with Torbay Council, and finally you don't have to believe in Clark Osborne. All you have to do is believe in the club, and that is One Club United. So those are the main takeaways from that forum if you haven't watched it already, but I do suggest if you haven't, make sure it's
and Gary Johnson doesn't have shares in the football club.
Oh yes, Gary Johnson does not have shares in the football club,
but his wife might.
Yeah, I have to take it with a little pinch of salt. Again, it's good that the club have come out and done this and they've not watered it down, but in the same respects, they're still, to me, just.
It's a long, long way to go.
Again, talk is cheap. It's what you do now. What you do to go ahead. So there's a few comments on here. Obviously, it's only been posted this afternoon, so I imagine in the next couple of days there'll be a lot more reaction. So Bob Bamber made a couple of tweets referencing. He said, "How are you going to get the club back into the Football League?" Edwards replies, "Easy that, One Club United." That was his whole answer. And what happens if there isn't a new stadium? I don't think I need to answer that one because there will be one. Says a 71-year-old who's owned the club for 5+ years now and made no progress towards a new one. Fair point. Mark Lewis says a lot of talking with no real answers. One Club United is not an answer. There's Steve Mumford who says amazing how the local authorities have thwarted his attempts to build stadiums in the past. One could say there's a theme developing here in regards to the new planned stadiums.
Yeah,
that's what I've got so far on here. I'll have another quick look on to see if there's any more. There is a poll out at the moment. It's only got 58 votes, but thoughts on today's forum answers at the moment. 41% have said it's better than they expected. 33% have said not sure, and 26% have said they are not impressed. Couple of comments on there as well. I've only just seen this for the first time, by the way, so just bear with me on this. Bob Bamber again says, I think there were a couple of bigger picture questions that were dismissed a bit easily, but I don't think they dodged anything completely, and the answers were good. Thought Johnson and Osborne came off well. Not sure about Edwards.
Yeah, I agree with
that. I would agree with that. Zach W says, was interesting to hear about retaining players and wages they've offered to keep players, and also about moving the training to Bristol, like a lot of fans have spoken about, but it's not easy to do that as Torquay like to move them down and commit to the club properly. That was another thing that came out of that. Because Gary made a reference, didn't he? That'd be easier for him, but they want.
Yeah, I thought that's a ridiculous idea, to be honest. If you play for a club, you play for you go and you live in that area. Accepting not everyone does that, but you can't train 100 miles from where the club's based? That's crazy. Can't do that.
Zach also says it does sound like they believe a rebuild and a promotion would spark another National League push, and they are going to trust the process. Will it work? We'll find out, I guess, in due course. We've got Aaron who says, in practical terms, how are we going to get back into the Football League? George Edwards, one Club United, enjoy the good times and support them through the bad ones. That's not a plan. Yeah, and that's really what I've got on here so far. There's some other comments on there, but this is one that I'll no doubt discuss for the next couple of days ahead anyway, and maybe next week or in a couple of weeks we can kind of get back and divulge that a bit more. But yeah, interesting because they posted it and then deleted all the social media posts and then put it back up later, which I found quite interesting. But yeah, again, I'll keep saying it. Whilst it's good that something has been done, and kudos to the Yellow Army for forcing this to happen. Talk is cheap. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
You've got to. You can only go by past histories. If there is a new ground, we'll see. We'll see. But it'd be sad to leave Plainmoor.
My memories are there. I understand the business of it, and I don't see it happening. But I just have this dreaded thing that the football club will go, and then we've left with a derelict Plainmoor. But yeah, no, I haven't quite said that. I'm very attached to Plainmoor because that's where my childhood's been. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same. And it's just not the problem right now, is it? Why can't we just build a multi-purpose Talk United place already? Does that make sense? Why can't we just have the football stadium here and we build a Talk United complex which could have training facilities in it? And then it could have like all the stuff you want to sell it, like hard courts, indoor stuff. And we have it as an asset of the football club. The training facility, these sort of, I know these things cost money, but then you still got the stadium getting you, because that's once we're not going to start breaking the 6,000 attendance, are we, till you get to League One, if you're looking like that.
It's a shame we're not looking at this as a League Two, League One club.
Exactly, it's going to be different. So why can't, seriously, can someone answer, does anyone know the difference between, you talk about a multi-purpose thing, but what difference does it make if it's a stadium or it's just a complex that Talk United own, it could have a training facility or just be something that we can rent out as the football club that earns you money? Why does it have to be a stadium which also has all these things with all that money? This is what I don't understand.
I suppose, why would you have two? I suppose is the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Why would you build a new stadium that's not?
So it's more upkeep, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, why can't you just keep playing more and have this new multi thing?
But I guess that's one we'll come back to.
I'm not a business person, so I don't know.
Yeah. I guess it's one we'll come back to in a couple of weeks, and once we've had time to digest everything. And those of you watching this episode, make your comments below, and
definitely
interesting to read those. And
as well.
We'll come revisit that maybe after a very hectic Christmas period starting on Saturday.
Yes. Well, first of all, let's end on a bit more of a happier note. Thank you for everyone. Or we do one more for the new year. But thank you for everyone, obviously, who's been watching us all year. It's been a pretty testing year. Hopefully, the next one's not as bad. We really appreciate all the comments. And if we get loads of likes, we might even release an outtake where. No, if we reach
5,000.
If we reach 500 subscribers, then they can have it. There we go.
That is not. If people knew what they were going to get, that would not incentivize them to subscribe.
This is making it sound worse than it is.
Predictions. Chelmsford predictions. Truro predictions.
Totally blurred. Yeah.
Predictions. 500 subscribers by tomorrow.
Oh, you'll be all right then, Chris.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Yeah, hopefully. Crikey.
I
think Chelmsford was one of the better games at home this season, so I think it'll be a difficult one. I think it'll be.
It was actually, yeah.
We want to keep winning, don't we? Is the thing, but I think a 1-1 draw wouldn't be the end of the world. Maybe we want to keep winning, don't we? But I reckon 1-1.
Yeah, I was going to go 1-1 as well. I think we're overdue a draw, aren't we? So,
well, yeah, we're level to August, so yeah,
that'll be a tough one. It'll be tough to go there. That's definitely on paper the hardest one out of this month. So, getting something there would be a good result. But of course, we'd like to win. But yeah, I'll go 1-1 as well.
Yeah.
2-2.
Ooh.
Draws all round.
And Truro Boxing Day.
That's a game you want to win. I think that would be a nice 2-0 win.
3-1 Torquay.
2-0.
Right. So thank you very much. We've covered quite a lot. We'll leave you on, was it David Crow? I can't remember now. We'll leave you on why we were laughing so much, that part. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, before we finish, if anyone has a video they wouldn't mind sending of a Brett McGavin screamer, we're setting up a Talky Talk 2023 video, which should drop in the new year. So all I'm missing is a couple of Brett Wonder goals. So if you have any, please forward them to us to go into the video.
And we'll make sure we get photos of when Tommy buys us all a pint because he's got to 10 goals.
Does he lose one for the red card?
No.
No, absolutely not. There's no mention of that in the deal, so no. Nor for the own goal. He's trying everything. He was getting desperate. The red card, no. The own goal, no. That wasn't in the deal. Still on 7.
You've wound
but he
him
won't
up
score
now,
on Saturday,
It's all
Tommy.
your
It's
fault.
good
You've
news,
wound
isn't
him
it?
up.
Yeah, he won't score on Saturday, will he, Tommy? Which is good news for you.
Get in.
There we are.
It's not good news for the team.
Thank you very much for watching us.
Happy Christmas, everyone.
Next week. Happy Christmas, and we'll see you next week.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays on side, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.
But it might open up the right back for Danny Crow to get his head down and make that spaces for the rest of the season.
And then Tommy's just called him Danny Crow. So I reckon we might have to redo that. That's probably not what.
Did I actually say? Did I say
No,
Danny
it was
Crow?
all right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Right, okay.
Kelly's corner.
Am I going back into the introduction, or do I just go
No,
straight
no,
into it? So Craig Hughes on Hughes. It's been a while. Craig Hughes on Facebook says it's a very random move for Shawn moving to Livingston, but fair play to him. And that.
He's gone.
I've gone. He says he's been a pretty decent signing for us overall during his time here, and that he's a very versatile player, that he can fill a lot of positions, which will be something we've lost from this move. But this might open up the right back position for Dylan Crow to get his head down and make that spaces for the rest of the season. But
No,
also,
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So hard. I was looking at Sam. I thought, don't laugh. And he started smiling. I was like, oh no, I've gone. I was thinking to Darren Crow.
what did I call him again?
He didn't. I was just waiting. I knew it was coming up.
In the first take, you called him Darren Crow. It's ruined.
Oh, my heart's going to fail now.
Should we give it another go?
It's not your fault, Craig. It's ignore us. We're just being silly. All right, one more time, yeah?